So, the President of the United States of America has now privatized his own presidential communications so that he can make a profit by selling them to Wall Street and large financial institutions and giant corporations. And I know what you're thinking. You're going to say that this is the most outlandish thing you've ever heard in your entire life, and you would be correct on that. And if you don't believe what I'm saying here, you need to start doing your own research, and you need to start watching this video here because this is all factual information, and you are completely out of your bloody mind, and you're not an American if you don't watch this. Now, this headline is legitimate, guys. Donald Trump is now selling faster access to Trump's Truth Social post, which will let traders and investors pay for real-time feed of Truth Social post. Right? Trump Media and Technology Group, the publicly traded company behind Truth Social, has announced a business-to-business product. Again, business-to-business product called Truth API, scheduled to launch on August 1st, 2026, and it will be giving paying institutions a direct, licensed, machine-readable feed of posts from Truth Social's 10 most influential accounts. Trump Media says that the service will deliver posts within milliseconds, operate continuously, and include an archive going back to 2022. Pricing has not yet been disclosed, but the company says several customers have already signed up. Right? So again, more insider information, including financial news organizations and high-frequency trading firms on Wall Street. The important distinction is that customers are not currently being promised access to Trump's thoughts before he posts them publicly. The paid advantage is thereby coming from immediate release afterwards, right? So instead of refreshing Truth Social, relying on a push notification, or scraping the website, a trading computer now receives the post directly in a structured format that can analyze it and act upon it almost instantly. And the algorithm could detect words involving things like tariffs, Iran, oil. Oh, you got to buy some stock in Micron. What an amazing company Micron is. We all love Micron. Interest rates for a particular company like Micron, and automatically execute trades before an ordinary user has even opened the app. Trump Media openly says that the product is intended for organizations for which even a tiny information delay is expensive. Now, the initial feed is going to include people like Donald Trump, the White House, FBI Director Kash Patel, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and again, like this is like so insane. Right? And now, Trump's obviously going to be the main attraction here, and he routinely has used Truth Social to announce or preview decisions concerning things like tariffs, military action, economic policy. And so this is not something that is out of the ordinary here. All the way dating back to when he first started taking office here, this guy has been trading countless times after he's already, and then he's went on social media or on live TV, and he said things about those companies, and he's made millions and millions and millions of dollars from them. And now he's essentially privatizing his communications in a way that's almost mirroring his crypto scheme that he did. Right? So instead of doing a rug pull on people, which is where he pumps up the coin, says, you guys got to buy, he sells everything to the top and makes billions. Instead of what he did was actually relatively smart. He wanted some plausible deniability on this. And so what he did was he decided, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to do a royalty on all of these crypto transfers. And so whenever anybody trades these coins, I make a good fortune. And you know what? My friends at the start, they probably also had a little bit of information to buy directly when that coin released. So that way they can make a fortune as well. Now, this should be tantamount to insider trading. If it's not, this is beyond. This is almost beyond corruption. This is almost incomprehensible to what we stand for as a country, but yet this is what's going on. So now the president can, announce things like tariffs and military actions, right, and economic policies, and everybody on Wall Street is going to get it before you can, and they are going to make more money that you do not have access, and they're going to make more money because you do not have access to that information, and they do. That's what's going to happen now. Does that sound American to you? I don't think that sounds American at all. And so the conflict of interest is it's straightforward here, right? Donald Trump is now, again, he's privatized presidential communications. And the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust holds, roughly speaking, 41% of Trump's media's outstanding stock. Therefore, Trump uses his presidential position to generate market-moving information. He posts that information on the platform associated with his company, and that company will now charge financial institutions for the latest delivery of it. Critics describe that as monetizing presidential communications, effectively turning access to the president's official decisions into the Trump family revenue stream. Right? Now, is this illegal? Now, this, again, is this illegal? Not obviously, right? Based solely on what's been announced here. And because, again, everybody's technically going to get access to that information, but I would argue that you're just selling insider information because you're selling it slightly faster, right? The people are not going to have access to this information, right? And now, look, a technology platform can generally charge different customers for faster delivery of information. That's already been made public, right? We already know about this. Look what X does, for example, right? Securities lawyer interviewed by Reuters said that tier distribution may appear unfair without necessarily violating federal securities laws. Where regulation fair disclosure mainly restricts public companies from selectively giving their own material, non-public corporate information to favor market professionals, and does not automatically prohibit a social media company from selling faster technical access to already published presidential statements. But the larger problem here is ethics, right? I mean, this is a conflict of interest that we've never seen before. I mean, this is a huge, look, people have access to this before the general public does. Right, so even if it's not technically illegal what he's doing and he gets away with it, this should be an impeachable offense and it should be made illegal immediately. Right now, again, they're saying that obviously this is going to produce a huge revenue stream here, something that's going to make his family millions and millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. And now we're in a situation whereby we are at the whim of the privatization of any politician now getting away with this, right? They could charge for their own information. And this is the most disgusting thing about America. This is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen with respect to this country. But everybody is so bloody spineless that they won't do anything about it. I mean, everybody's familiar with the Nancy Pelosi fund, I'm sure. Everybody always talks about how Nancy Pelosi is like the best trader of all time. And statistically speaking, she probably is. But that's because she used that inside information. We all hate her for it. And she should have been prosecuted long ago. But now, instead of having the Speaker of the House do this, we now have the President of the United States do this. And I don't know how much worse it can get from there. I mean, would we just need every president to do this? I mean, this is on the level of what people like Putin would do, or what people like Xi Jinping would do. I mean, this is so out of the ordinary here that it almost blows my mind that we tolerate this. But yet it feels to me like we will. And I don't think that what we're going to do is put an end to this. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't. And, people are going to make a lot of money off this. And you could say, okay, well, as a person who's following Truth Social, yeah, just refresh, you get it like a second later. But it doesn't matter because the trades were already executed by then. So they had access before you even did. That's essentially what it boils down to. And you could argue over a second and say, well, that doesn't really make a difference. It's like, it absolutely does. It's like if you throw all your compute power at these artificial intelligences, and they're going to make the right decision, at least the majority of the time. All they got to do is be right 51% of the time. They're going to make a lot of money. And what I think Trump's going to start doing now, because again, he was just getting away with it. I just seen a post, in the past month, he hyped up 20 companies, said, all right, you need to buy this stock. Pretty much. I mean, or it's sometimes directly, but other times, he'll just hype up the company and everything about that company. And the stock rises, right? But he already traded those companies a week earlier, days earlier in some cases. So how can you say that this is a fair system? How can you possibly end up saying that when the elites are running this country, right? They're pillaging the coffers. This is what happens in societies like Rome, where we fall and everybody gets left behind besides the rich, wealthy elite, and we go into like a dark ages. I think that we're already there. I had another video here where I said the American dream is dead. If you're a young person in this country, I mean, you could just even look on screen. I'll put it on screen right now, right? Look at the median individual income with respects to the median home price by year, right? And you look at the multiples. So, how many years do you have to work underneath the median earnings as an individual to afford a house? In 1950 it was 3.8 times. Now it's 12.2. I mean, I don't know how much more blatant this could be that the country is going downhill, and it's going downhill very, very fast. And it feels like there's nothing we can do about it here. And so, what? Now we're going to, Now we get to pay to hear people like RFK Jr. talk about harvesting the whale blubber, right? Earlier than expected. But in the same breath, we also get to see corrupt Donald Trump do this as well. And there's going to be no end to this until he either gets impeached, we have some revolution in the country, or he gets prosecuted and thrown in prison for this. But I can't imagine that's happening because half of Congress is doing the exact same goddamn thing. They just haven't privatized their communications yet. So with that said, guys, hopefully you did enjoy the video here. Very sad news for America, but hey, it's the way it is, I guess. It's the way it is in our country. If you did enjoy the video, though, guys, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for some more content. You're not going to have access to my information unless you pay a subscription from now on. Get it? It was a joke. I don't know. Anybody got that? Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Because, as a consumer, you don't have access to what Trump's doing. Absolutely not. This is business-to-business API. Let that sink in. But anyways, guys, you can follow me on social media at Ian Phillips USA for some more content. Try to get me to 600 subscribers, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.